So not 3.5. We'll say that wrong.
You seeing it there though? Makes sense? Hey, it's okay. So I want to point this out though. Here is what the actual parameter is.
Oh, mine got 3.4.
The parameter is 3.67. 3.67 what, by the way? 3.67, what's that number represent?
What does 3.67 represent?
3.67 letters per word.
Per word.
Isn't that the average we kept trying to calculate?
Yeah.
Or the mean?
Ain't never.
So I want you to look at this. Pay attention. Look. And this is what I want us to note and to learn out of this. I told you this before. What type of sample do we have to have so that our samples will approximate or represent the population?
Accurate.
Yes, we want accurate, but when will we get accurate data or accurate samples? When they're what? Random. This one's a little off, right? But this is still way closer to the parameter, the population value, than the one where you got to choose 5 words. Is what I predicted true, that you chose bigger words?
Yep.
100%. Your eyes are naturally pulled towards those bigger words. But when it's random, when everything is equally likely to be chosen, then we're going to pick those smaller words as well. So in order to pick a sample, or be able to pick samples that represent the population, we need something random. We need randomization in there. And that's a foundational thing that I want you to see. Now, I do want to point this out. I'm going to come back to this, so please hold on to that idea. I'm going to come back to it. But I do want to point this out. We asked, what does the word mean before? So I'm guessing that we've never seen this symbol before. Is that fair to say?
No.
Who's seen this before?
Me?
You just didn't know what it meant? Do you know what it means, KP?
Nope.
Okay. So this is the mathematical, or sorry, the statistical symbol for a sample mean. And a mean is just a type of average, right? So notice that this is a statistic. Every single value that you put on here was a statistic, right? Every single one was a sample mean. So I could put a little X bar on each of these little dots to show that it's a sample mean. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have what are called parameters. The parameter for population mean is a Greek letter mu. That's literally like a little U with a tail in front, I guess. But it's a Greek letter. And this is just a population mean. Now, was every sample mean here incorrect?
No.
No, we had one that was pretty close, right?
Uh-huh.
But you see how consistently we missed the mark? Consistently, most of these were too big?
Yep.
If you look here, were all of these perfectly on the parameter?
No, but they was close.
But they were close. These, were they perfectly on the parameter?
No.
No, but they were close, and they are centered around that parameter. That's what randomization does. That's the key that I want you to get out of this. I'm going to write this in a point in the book in a second. But when you randomly select data, there's no bias, there's no you choosing. It allows you to get data or samples that accurately represent the population. And only randomness can allow that. There's other elements to study design, but we're going to look at that tomorrow. Yes, Jay Sean?
People use this method to count how many people there is, like, in the States and stuff like that.
So, there are elements of this is a part of it, because it's a good point of, there's millions of people in Alabama or in the US. So can we actually get every single person? No. So they do use some statistics and some elements of randomness and probability to make an approximation for exactly how many. Does that make sense? And so they've done study after study to figure it out. So that's a good idea and good question. Yes, KP?
You grade these books?
No, I don't grade those books.
You got the worksheets out of it.
I do not grade the worksheets out of them.
So just use them.
No. I've been telling you to write this stuff in your book, right?
Yep.
These are your notes so that you can study for understanding checks and for tests.
Oh.
I don't care what you write in the book, in the sense that it's your textbook to study from. But if you don't have good notes, are you going to be able to study well? Nope. And so it's on you. Now, I'm going to do active collaboration scores every single day. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to talk with each other and to help each other out. Now, last couple of quick details I want to point out is this. If you go to the beginning of lesson 2, this is page 80 or so. Go quickly to page 80 so we can wrap up. Okay. Okay. I lied. Sorry, 79.
Stop lying to me.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. I misremembered. Okay. So, right here, they're talking about a convenience sample. A convenience sample is a sample whose data is based on what is convenient for the person choosing the sample. Look at these 4 samples that we did. Were any of these convenience samples? They were just easy. Which one?
The chosen.
The chosen one? Okay, maybe that was easy. Any of these other ones that were just easy?
They all was.
There was one that was easier than the rest of them.
When we use the calculator.
It was even easier than that.
The first one.
The first 5 words. Do you have to do anything to just say, oh, I'm going to look at these first 5 words?
No.
No. And if I look at those first 5 words, were they close? Yes. But is it guaranteed that something that's convenient, the first 5 is always going to be accurate?
Nope.
No. We never want to use a convenient sample. So make a note here, an example of a convenient sample is the first 5 words sample. It was convenient, it was easy. It wasn't necessarily the best. Then we have the subjective sample. A subjective sample is a sample drawn by making a judgment about which data items to select. You saying, I think these are the best ones. Which of these samples was subjective? Where you chose, right? That was literally what you did. You chose which 5 you thought were the best.
Subjective.
Yep. A subjective sample is a sample drawn by making a judgment about which data items to select. That's the 5 words you chose. And I want to remind you, when you chose those 5 words, look right there, when you chose those 5 words, was that accurate to represent the population?
No.
No. Very much not. There's a final one that we didn't get a chance to look at because it's literally volunteers. And can words volunteer to be selected? No. But here's a quick example. Let's say that I wanted to know how physically fit Hillcrest High School students are. Is that a statistical question? Yes. But I asked people to volunteer. Is everyone going to volunteer for a physical fitness test?
No.
Who's going to volunteer? But in general, athletes. The ones that are in shape. So would I get an accurate representation from the entire population if I asked for volunteers about who wants to do this fitness test? No. And so all 3 of these methods, right, will create what's known as bias. We're going to talk heavily about what bias is tomorrow, but what we want to notice is if you use any of those 3 methods, is every element of data equally likely to be chosen?
No.
No. That's the problem with these methods. What's the only method that makes every element equally likely to be chosen? Random sampling. Yes, I would have written this down. Only random sampling allows each element to be equally likely to be chosen. And we want every data value to be equally likely to be chosen. Okay? So, do notice last detail. It's only when each element is equally likely to be chosen that our samples are close to the population, or our statistics are close to approximating the parameter. It is only when every element is equally likely to be chosen.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to hear that. And so what do we always want when it comes to sampling or collecting data?
Randomization.
We want randomization. We only selected how many words out of 304? 5. But did those 5 words, when we had randomness, approximate the parameter pretty well? Yeah. That's the beauty of statistics. 5 words to approximate 304, as long as you have randomness there. All right.
We're done.
We are officially done, and it's time for enrichment. Last quick notes. That's pretty much it. Okay, we don't really have any on the closing things. We didn't get to the exit slip, and be aware we're going to try to wrap this unit up, this mini unit up on Friday. We'll either have an understanding check on Friday or on Monday. It'll be one of those two.
That was so
Hey, Rye. Buddy.
We're saying, get my.
Yes, sir.
So what's my grade already?
I mean, I haven't put any actual grades in yet because I wasn't able to get into power schools yesterday.
For real. You know my body.
I don't even know what phone you
You know my body.